advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
Welcome back to another episode of the Chillinois Basketball Podcast. We are here after yet another loss. A little bit surprised, a little bit bewildered as to how that all went down. Nonetheless, the Illini lost 92-90, their second overtime loss in as many games. And there's a lot to break down in this one because I don't think this was the worst performance of the season, but this was the performance where if you were looking at everything that went wrong for the Illini, it was like exactly what they were bad at for most of this season. So all in all, it's surprising they lost to Wisconsin at home, the number 8 team in the country, losing to an unranked Wisconsin team. But we're gonna break it down for you. And honestly, after looking at all of it and after rewatching the game and after coming down from my anger of as being a fan and being so angry about this loss, it doesn't surprise me they lost this game. 92-90 was the final score, like I said, second overtime game in as many games played. The story of the game to me, first and foremost, Nick Boyd and John Blackwell, two not all-American guards, probably not even first team all Big Ten guards, probably Nick Boyd maybe, but John Blackwell, no. But definitely some high-level Division I basketball guards, and you got two of them. And on the Illini end, you only played 6 players. Andre, we'll talk about this a little bit later because I think there's a little bit more to the story there. Andre didn't play. He had an ankle injury in practice apparently the day before. Or no, I think they said it was the Michigan State game that he rolled his ankle in. And then he was practicing through it and it flared up again. So that's something to watch out for the rest of the season. But Kylan obviously is out as well. And when you have two starting guards out for a game against a team with two very skilled, not bigger guards, but they're both 6'5" and 6'4", that's going to hurt you. And it definitely hurt the Illini last night. When Nick Boyd needed to score, he kind of got everything he wanted to, whether it was going to the rim or pulling up from the mid-range. And then John Blackwell hit a million threes last night. So it wasn't a pretty performance, but something that did surprise me, though, and I'm talking a lot about surprises. I want to ask you this here and get you involved. The Illini shot 54% from the field, 53% from the field, and they shot 45% from three. Can you guess how many years it's been since the Illini have lost a game in which they shot 53% from the field and 45% from three?
Mm, 12 years.
No, it's been 20 years.
Wow.
That hasn't happened in 20 years. They haven't had a game where they shot that high of a percentage. So honestly, the offense looked pretty. The defense, which has kind of been the thorn in the Illini side this season when they do lose games. UConn, they played poor defense. Alabama, they played really poor defense down the stretch. Nebraska, they played poor defense, and then they won 12 games in a row and they seemingly got their defense back together. This game, the defense was a letdown. Nick Boyd could, like I said before, kept getting to the basket at the end of the game in an overtime when he needed to. John Blackwell was 5 for 11 from three. And then they even had a bench guy, Austin Rapp. He got hot from three as well, 4 for 7. I know I've talked about defense. I think offensive rebounding was another stat line that, if I want to use the word surprise again, I'm going to go ahead and use it. It was a surprise because the Illini don't often get out offensively rebounded, and that happened in this game. And then third biggest point, I guess, would be free throw shooting because it was pretty abysmal in this one. So Noah, take your pick between those three things. Which one bothered you the most? Which one were you unhappy with the most between free throw shooting, between the offensive rebounding, and then between just the overall defense, I suppose, if you want to lump that into one. Which one are you most pissed off about? Which one bothered you the most last night?
I think the defense probably just because you're at home, you need a big spot. It's a big game. It's a bounce back game. I mean, well, first of all, the hat. Peep the hat. This is the new Chillinois basketball. One of two designs, correct?
Yeah, I think there's a Chillinois podcast hat, there's an Illa fucking Noi hat, and then there's another Illa fucking Noi hat that's a rope one. But this team, Illinois, should not be losing to Wisconsin to with fucking Wisconsin.
The hat's really the only thing that's keeping me together at this point. I was very upset. I still am upset. I mean, it was one of those games where, I mean, you guys heard me pregame. I was saying this is a 25-point win, bounce back game. We need it. Brad never loses two in a row. Everything. I mean, I was so confident in this game. And I told you guys I had that meeting, right? So I had the meeting. I'm in the meeting. It was an hour and a half. I didn't get out of the meeting until 8:30. So by the time I get out of the meeting, there's only 10 minutes left in the game. So I turned the game on. Illinois is up like 10 points. I'm like, great news. We're going to win. From that point on, Wisconsin went on a run. Then it goes to overtime. Then I text Chase. I'm like, dude, literally since I turned the game on, we've sucked ass. I'm going to turn it off. So I turn it off at overtime. I'm just hoping, we can pull it off. Maybe I was a jinx. Obviously, what happened happened. I gotta blame the defense. I mean, you can't let Wisconsin score that many points in your home court. It's just not acceptable. I mean, I don't know if it was just them, but every single three-point shot they were shooting the last 7 minutes of the game was going in. They didn't miss a single one. So when you're making those kind of shots, it's like guard better. I don't it's make them shoot twos. I don't know. It's like Illinois' Brad Underwood said that they've switched their defensive mentality this year. Now they allow the three-point shot, and I don't know. It- when you got that many white guys on a team, you don't let them shoot that many threes. That's basketball 101. I mean, what the hell do you think they're gonna do? So I was not impressed. I was not happy. It scares me. It kind of scares me because yes, you have Kylan coming back. Yes, Andre was out, but if your mindset is, it is what it is. I didn't think that was this team's mindset. You heard Brad Underwood say, "Oh, they're distraught. They're distraught." They didn't seem that distraught. I mean, they, when they should have put their foot on Wisconsin's neck, they let up and they let Wisconsin fight back and win. So I wasn't particularly happy with the game. And especially now since Michigan, they've won their game and it's looking like there's really no chance for us to win the Big Ten unless Michigan like loses two games for no reason.
Yeah, it's in some ways after getting my head wrapped around it all, I think going to be a benefit to the Illini that maybe they don't have to focus so much on this Big Ten title race anymore. They can just focus on their team and getting to themselves to be back to the best version of themselves that we once saw. And that'll probably include Kylan this time around because I would assume he'd be back in the next week or week and a half. So you said defense. I wanted to point out offensive rebounding because I'm trying to look down the play-by-play here. I think it might have been an overtime. There was a play in either overtime or right at the end of the second half that brought it to overtime where Wisconsin gets a offensive rebound and then they get fouled and then they go up. And it just was so reminiscent of the Michigan State game where Kohler gets that offensive rebound, chucks it out to Kurtang. And it's like the Illini, sometimes this Illini team's best attributes, their offensive rebounding and their three-point shooting, has seemed to also be their kryptonite in the last two games because they've been bitten in both games by late plays at the end where an offensive rebound happened or and then a kick out for a three. And then in this case, the it wasn't a three-pointer, it was a foul, but sends Wisconsin to the line for free throws. Um, you can't give up late offensive rebounds, and it just kind of shows to me especially maybe I think you could argue that we definitely missed Kylan the most in this game. I think he definitely could have stopped at least one of two Wisconsin guards that went off in this one. Um, but to me, it just kind of shows that without Kylan in their late game situations, sometimes this team doesn't really have their head in the right place. Because games before this, we were getting those defensive rebounds, not letting it up, being an offensive, and the game's over. So offensive rebounds really bothered me. I can't find the exact play here, but if I do, I'll bring it up again. But I know for a fact there was an offensive rebound Wisconsin got that was really critical late, and it just reminded me of the Michigan State game. And I was like, this is exactly what Brad said after the Michigan State game. Offensive rebound led to a three. that's how we lost the game. And it felt very similar this time around. Also, looking at the play-by-play right before overtime, you said defense. I'm going to say offensive rebounding and free throw shooting because those were the two that really stuck out to me the most. What was it? Keaton that went to the line when it was 80-81. Yeah, with 33 seconds left, he makes the first free throw, misses the second. That would have put the Illinois team up by one. Um, I mean, obviously, Wisconsin had a shot to tie it or go up at that point because there was 30 seconds left and they had the ball back. Blackwell misses the three-point jumper, so it's tied and then goes to overtime. But, Keaton makes that free throw, our 84% free throw shooter. If he locks in a little bit more and makes that free throw, we're up 1 point and we win that game before it goes to overtime. So it should have never been that close. We were up 12 points with 8 minutes left. It was just an absolute letdown game by the Illini, and I think they
It
kind of
reminded me of that Penn State game with Coleman Hawkins a couple of years ago
yeah.
when we just totally melted and just lost all composure. But I want to say, why do we keep getting so many injuries? I mean, genuinely, like what's happening? Everybody's getting hurt, and it's like Michigan's not having these problems. Michigan State's not. These other teams don't seem to be having these problems where their star players are getting hurt regularly.
I think I saw a stat where we're the most injured team in the Big Ten this year. We've had 12 games missed by starters, which is the most of any Big Ten team, unless
Well,
you're
it's like
counting like like out for the season injuries. But I'm just talking like day by day or out for a couple of week injuries. This Illinois team has been plagued the most by injuries. Um, But you made a really good point right before you brought up the injuries about how like it reminded you of this Penn State game in the past where the Illini let down their guard and they kind of got lackadaisical on defense and let Penn State come back. And the disappointing thing about you saying that is like we thought this team was kind of over that. When they went on that 12 game run, obviously they lost to Michigan State, and that was a house money game. And we were like, okay, now they got to get it right against Wisconsin. And I've texted a bunch of people this since we lost this game. It's not an Illinois basketball season unless they have one game where you look back on the schedule and you're like, how the fuck did we lose that game? And obviously, the Illini had quite a few last year. I think they lost 7 games in the Big Ten, or maybe 8. So they had quite a few of those last year. USC, and then in previous years it was Maryland and Penn State. So they keep having these losses, and I really thought this team was kind of over that. I thought they were better than that. Um, I'm not saying this is just maybe a regular Illinois season again. I think this team is still something special, but I am a little bit concerned, more concerned for that Indiana game that I'm going to on Sunday, and we'll have a preview for that. But I am more concerned because Indiana has really good guards. Wilkerson just scored 41 points again for a second time this season. And they have other guys that can shoot the three. Nick Dorn went off for 30 points in a game earlier this season. So if the Illini don't get it right, if we're going to have a six-man rotation again, because and we can talk about it now because I'm going to bring it up. If Andre is going to pull a Darren Peterson on us and decide before the game he doesn't really feel like he wants to play and he's not really ready to go, and if we're
I
playing
think
for the
what
game
happened
against
with Andre is he got like mogged or something pregame and maybe he was a little insecure, wasn't feeling himself.
I don't
So
know. As far as I heard, it was a injury that occurred against Michigan State in the first half. He played through it. Apparently practiced. He was available
Jeremy
for
Fears probably fucking twisted his foot or something. I mean, who knows? We might
who
not have
knows.
even seen it on camera.
Andre's rolled an ankle a few times this season, but there was a play in the Michigan State game where he went down towards the end. Anyways, he practiced all week though, so that it was surprising that like game day, game time decision, he's like, nah, I can't go. I don't want to say he's Darren Peterson. I know I brought that up. He did kind of pull Darren Peterson. If you follow that saga, it's crazy with Kansas. Apparently, he had the flu and decided before the game he couldn't go. So I would be more upset with Darren Peterson as a Kansas fan than an Illinois fan with Andrei Stojakovic. But I hope he gets better before Indiana because if we're down Kylan and him for Indiana, I mean, we'll have to see. And
Him and Kylan just probably went to the bars the night before and got fucking tipsy, and they're like, "Oh man,
it
we
was
can't play, dude.
it
We're
was
too
Tony Billich's
hungover."
birthday.
Dude, I'm telling you, they took Tony out. They're like, "Yeah, 21st birthday, Tony, let's go." And maybe they had one too many, and Andre woke up and he's like, "Coach, I can't do it." Why does he have an accent, even though wasn't he like born and raised in the United States, or was
He was
he?
born in Greece. He lived there for a while.
Okay, that
And
makes
then,
sense.
I mean, he's around two parents that predominantly speak Greek or Serbian. So when you like if you grow up and you have two parents that have accents, like it's kind of ingrained in
It's
your
he
brain to have
kind
an
of
accent.
sounds like Merc though. He just sounds kind of Balkan. Like it doesn't
Yeah, he
even
does. It's a little
it's
more subtle, but
I don't that's the thing is, with Andre is, you know, he's got the looks, he's got the style, he's got it all. What he don't have is a good ankle apparently.
yeah.
So he's got to get that figured out because without Kylan, then it's like, oh, well, Andre can guard him. Well, without Andre, our best defender is Blake Fagbemi. It's like we got to get it figured out.
It is concerning at this point in time of the season. Um, I do think the next couple of games, I mean, we do have the West Coast trip and then we have that Indiana game at home. Arguably, those are easier games. Wisconsin's kind of hot right now. Uh, but we'll have previews for those. I don't want to like get too much into that before we cover those in future previews, but just a disappointing effort from the Illini, especially when they shot so well from three. Like I said, it's not very many times the Illini are going to score 90 points and lose a game.
Did you see the video of Greg Gard wearing the Jake Davis wig in the fucking locker room?
No, I didn't. Did he do that?
He put on the Jake Davis wig and walked into the locker room, and they all lost their damn mind.
I
And I
mean,
was so pissed off.
if you're gonna beat a team on Jake Davis wig night, I don't know how you lose a game on
Who
Jake.
gave him the freaking wig, man? Who
I don't
gave
know.
Greg Gard the wig? You can't give him a, you can't let anyone on Wisconsin have access to the Jake Davis wigs. They harness too much power. They can't have them. End of story. It made Greg Gard look handsome, God forbid.
It's pretty tough to do as well. So we've got an upcoming stretch of the West Coast games and then Indiana. I do want to point out some good highlights for the Illini. Keaton Wagler obviously played phenomenally again if you take away his free throw shooting. He just looked tired out there because he doesn't, without Andre and without Kylan, they didn't really have like a guard that you could also give the ball to besides Keaton because otherwise you're passing to Jake Davis and Ben Humrickhouse, and I don't think they're the best like one-on-one face-up players. But Keaton scored 34. Yeah, so I mean, he's really proving that he's no fluke in this league. Like he's consistently scoring nearly 25 every game, if not more. Tomislav, I thought, had a really good performance, 19 points, 3 for 6 from three, and then 11 rebounds. So I think it's safe to say Tomislav is back. I mean, the whole team put up double figures besides Zvonimir and then Brandon Lee, who only played 1 minute. But like I said, they only played six people deep outside of Brandon Lee with that 1 minute. And that's just tough to win in the Big Ten when you're tired, when your shooters are tired at the end of the game and they can't get their shots to go as far because they got like heavy legs. Not a recipe for success. So I think most importantly, this Illini team needs to get healthy. They certainly need to figure it out on the defensive end, and then I hope Brad makes them shoot each 1,000 free throws before the next game, if not more. Maybe 1,000 each day, because that's something they're certainly going to need to correct for the Big Ten tournament, the NCAA tournament. If you can't shoot free throws,
And
you're
I just want to say right now, unless I see some type of news story about Merck being, on watch, then he's a capper. I mean, he's out here saying that he's going to kill himself because he's so upset with losing. They just lost two in a row. He needs to start getting in that mindset again. I haven't heard any suicide mentions lately since they started losing. It was that one Nebraska game, and then they went on a 12-game win streak. Hey, bring it back. Maybe it's that mentality that we need to win. We need that like live or die mentality. Like if it's like this, it's the Roman Colosseum, when they're fighting the lions. That's how we need to be right now. Instead, it's just like, oh, well, we lost, but there's always another game. We need that March mentality. We need that win or go home mentality. That's the problem. So I don't know what we need to do to get that figured out. If it needs to be like a Space Jam situation where they get the secret juice, I don't know. But Brad's got to get it figured out.
I think you can chalk that probably up to Illinois media being like, David, don't talk about killing yourself on interviews. And he's
David,
probably
if you want to talk about it, come on Chillinois Basketball. We will not censor you. We will let you say whatever you want. Get it off your chest. We're not here to, we just report the news.
I would say that's probably on Illinois media telling David to tone it down with the killing himself comments. But I do think that you're right with that point. The Illini need to get back to that like win or go home mentality. I'm not saying it wasn't there against Wisconsin. I'm sure after the Michigan State game they were pissed off, but they just weren't focused. And you saw it in the last 12 minutes, and then you saw it in overtime when Wisconsin got out to an early lead. That's just not the sign of a focused team. It is tough to be focused when you're only playing six players, and how many guys played 30 minutes plus? Six of
I
them
also
played
I feel
30
like the
plus minutes.
crowd I feel like the crowd, once we start to get behind, they just die and they don't know how to rally and get loud again and get the team. It's like I was watching the game, I'm like, when Wisconsin tied it up and there's like a minute left, I'm like, now is when the crowd needs to be so loud. Like, I get it, Wisconsin came all the way back and tied it, but if we're super loud, it'll make Keaton forget all of it ever happened and he'll be back in his rhythm. But it's like we get down by 2 points, then all of a sudden, student section's like, "Oh, let's go home." So I don't understand it. I mean, if I
There
was
has
there, I'd be making noise, I'd be yelling, but what do I know? You know,
No, that's actually a take that I've heard pretty consistently in online Illinois message boards and forums and stuff like that. And I know those are a lot of people, probably older people that went to college a few years ago or are alumni of the school and they don't live in Champaign anymore. But they have been making a lot of comments that the Orange Crush, since they renovated the place, has just not been as rowdy as it used to be. I guess they gave a lot of like some of that like behind the basket, or not behind the basket, but behind the baseline, or that the baseline is behind the basket, behind like the sideline. Um, I'm not sure which end of the stadium it is, but I know you can see the benches on most broadcasts on TV at the other end of the sideline. So where the fans are, like most closest, I think it's like right where the announcers sit. So whoever was calling the game last night, what was it? Was it John Fanta last night? Whoever it was,
I
wherever the
think I
announcers
can't
sit, those
remember.
fans behind them are apparently like donor seating section. So it's not like the Orange
I think it
Crushers
was
anymore.
Fanta and Robbie Hummel, if I'm
Yeah,
not
you're right.
mistaken.
It was a good broadcast crew actually. Um, but my point being, those the section behind where they sit now isn't students anymore. Ever since it was renovated, I believe it's not boxes obviously, but they call them suites because you can buy like big sections, and then I guess the problem is now like these people who have a lot of money are buying these big sections with the intent to sell their tickets, but nobody wants to actually buy the tickets for that much. So when you don't have a full 360 of crazy people around your court, it's going to be a lot quieter. But I do think the Orange Crush needs to be louder. And I'm going to that game on Sunday at Indy or versus Indiana. And if they're ever
Get
quiet,
in
you'll
there,
hear me at
man.
least. You'll hear me at least. I'm not going to
Get
be the
in
Orange
there with
Crush.
some Ray-Ban Meta glasses, get some first person. I mean, you got to get in these people's faces. You got to start yelling at these freshmen like, get loud, get angry. They don't
I
understand.
unfortunately don't think I'll have access to getting into the Orange Crush section, but I will. Like I said, if they're not loud on TV and it's like under 2 minutes and Indiana has a possession and they're down two and the Orange Crush is holding their breath because they're nervous, you'll hear me screaming.
This
So
will be you. You'll be the guy. You'll be like, come on, guys. We got to win. Coach needs us right now. And then you'll start a chant. You'll get an ILL chant going and the crowd will start, I and I.
what is
And who
that
knows?
impression of me? Is that what I sound like?
Yeah, that's you. That's you getting the crowd hype. Come on, guys. Coach needs us right now.
Why do I sound like Mickey Mouse?
Dude, that's just kind of how you sound. I mean, you got to embrace it. It's not nothing to be embarrassed about.
All right, if I sound like Mickey Mouse, I'll accept that and I'll be the loudest Mickey Mouse in State Farm Center on
Come
Sunday.
on, Jake. You can do it, Jake.
Have you seen those videos where like an opposing or like if the opposing team is shooting a free throw, it's usually at high school games. I think I've seen it on TikTok a few times where somebody will yell, "Ooh, that's my man." And I was like,
There you go.
maybe I should yell that at Lamar Wilkerson like right before.
Yell that at Connor Enright. If
Oh,
Connor, En-
true.
if he tries to pull some shit with that charge, I'm gonna be pissed because
I was never
he
a
does
Connor.
that.
And I thought he sucked at the ball, but we'll talk about him on our preview of Indiana. So, any last thoughts before we wrap this one up? I'm done talking about it because I want to get this game out of my mind and move down to the next one. But do you have any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I literally watched like 6 minutes of it. I got so furious that I had to turn it off, and I hate Peacock games. If we have another Peacock game, do we know what the Michigan game is on right now? Is the Michigan Illinois game on Peacock?
Let me check for you real
If it
quick.
is, I'm seriously gonna make a call because
It's on Fox. We got CBS coming up for Sunday's Indiana
but
game, Big Ten
that
Network for USC, Fox, Peacock, Fox. Peacock
the
is the
Mich
Oregon game.
Fox is not good either. I think the Michigan State game was Fox. We need low-key, shitty matchups against bad teams on Big Ten Network at like 8 p.m. That's ideal for us.
We only have one of those left at
Yeah.
USC.
Yeah. So that's not good. Ah, man. That I didn't even want to do this episode, bro. Like,
It
I
was a tough.
watched I had to go into work today and my coworker who's Wisconsin fans like, "Oh man, what happened?" And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh."
I'll one up you. I was on a date last night with a girl, and she was nice enough to agree to watch the game with me, but unfortunately, she is a Wisconsin fan, so she was kind about it. She didn't rub it in too much, but it was just silly because I was explaining like I was probably mansplaining, like over explaining to her how great this Illini team is, and then she was like, "Why are they all wearing like wigs in the stands?" And I was like, "Oh, that's our guy Jake Davis." And I think I went on like a 10-minute spiel about like every
You
ball
probably had her. You
control.
probably had her thinking that we were going to win by 40 fucking points.
At one point, I thought we were when we were up by 13 in the second half. And then I was like, I grabbed the tab. I was like, this game's over. And then we stayed for overtime too. So I was looking like a fool. And then she was like, what happened? She hit me with the classic, like James Ross, like, Illinois, what happened? Not quite as dramatic, but it felt like that at least. So
If I need to have a word with her, I'll have a word with her. I mean, that
no, it's okay. She was kind of.
if she wants to get added to my list, by all means, I'll put her on the list.
No, keep her off the list. She was kind about it. And the good thing is we don't have to play them again. So she'll root for Illinois for the rest of the season at least. The Illini fall 92 to 90 in overtime, their second straight overtime game to Wisconsin at home. They surely will not be ranked in the top 10 anymore when the next time the polls come out. They do play Indiana on Sunday, the 15th at noon on CBS. I will be at that game. I'll do what I can to rally the troops when I'm there, Noah, but it's a
Try to
little
get
bit
some
depressing right now. And
Try to get some intro, some more intros from the team.
if I
Maybe
get Keaton, I definitely want to see if I can get Keaton. But Keaton, like we're 0-2 since you clipped your hair off, man. Those glorious locks you had, and now I know you scored
well,
34 points again.
that's what I don't get. It's like you're on a miracle run. Nothing like anyone's ever seen. You were not supposed to do this. You weren't supposed to be this good. You're playing insane. You're breaking all these records. Why would you change what you're doing? Why would you do? I wouldn't trim my nails. I wouldn't do anything. You
I
got
probably
your
wear the
hair
same
cut,
sock.
dude. You got your hair cut. Are you
I used
kidding
to
me?
wear the same socks in soccer when I'd have good games consecutively. I wouldn't wash them and I'd keep the same ones on.
Yeah, I mean, I you can't even change your contact lenses. I mean, what are you doing? Why and you getting your hair cut? It's like, dude, you might as well just chop your foot off. I mean, that's the equivalent of what you just did. So,
We're gonna have to conjure some good juju for this next game because I know we have the gnome and
well, I'm gonna
I was wearing this DePaul hat for the longest time during Illinois games and they kept winning and then I stopped doing it against Michigan State, so I think I'm bringing this back. Shout out to Paul. They won against Creighton tonight for the first time in 23 games. They
well,
lost 20 straight.
I'll say this. We're pretty much at an all-time low right now. What do we have to lose? Kylan, bring the sage out. Bring the damn sage out. What do we have to lose? Maybe it can reverse whatever bad juju we got, this losing streak that we got. I don't, at this point, I'm willing to pull out all stops because I'm just, if I have to rely on DePaul basketball to give me happiness in life, I'm gonna have to pull a David Mirkovich. So they got to figure something out because that's all I got is Illinois basketball right now. I don't got my White Sox. I don't got my Bulls. When the Bulls traded Io, I officially boycotted that franchise. So I'm done with the Bulls. All I have right now is Illinois basketball. So I pray that Brad Underwood can rally the troops.
I think the team will get it together. They played what last night, so they have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They got 4 days in practice to get it together. You're gonna have an angry Brad Underwood. You're gonna have an angry team. I don't know, maybe pack them up in a truck and bring them to a Pizza Hut parking lot and have them duke it out and get their anger out and see what it brings back to the ball court on Sunday. But
Yeah, knowing fucking Illinois, half their team will get injured, and it's like, oh, Blake Fagbemi will be starting. So,
we'll see. Desperate times call for desperate measures, though. So the Illini play next on Sunday versus Indiana, like I said before. We'll wrap this one up. I'm going to say the final score one more time, even though I don't want to. But this will be the last time we hear this final score for the rest of the season. The Illini lose 92-90 against Wisconsin in overtime. I'm still going to say it, Noah. IOL.
I and I.